Hello and welcome back to the Bearded Bible. We are in day 14 of the New Testament of the year. If you're following along on the YouVersion Bible app, which looks like we're one day behind, but it's because chapter 12 is covered in 2 days tomorrow. So what we're going to do tomorrow is cover chapter 12 in one day. So with that, we're getting into Matthew chapter 11. Again, the New Testament in the John Maxwell Leadership Study Bible. So glad you could be here with us. We have an amazing chapter of the interaction between John the Baptist and his disciples and Jesus, and then a very short little leadership call out from John Maxwell. So let's jump in. Jesus and John the Baptist. After Jesus finished instructing his 12 disciples, he went out from there to teach and preach in the towns of Galilee. When John, who was in prison, heard about the deeds of the Messiah, he sent his disciple to ask him, "Are you the one who has come, or should we expect someone else?" Jesus replied, "Go back and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, those who have leprosy are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor. Blessed is anyone who does not stumble on account of me." As John's disciples were leaving, Jesus began to speak to the crowd about John. "What did you go out to the wilderness to see? A reed swayed by the wind? If not, what did you go out to see? A man dressed in fine clothes? No. Those who wear fine clothes are in kings' palaces. Then what did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. This is the one about whom it is written, 'I will send my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way before you.' Truly I tell you, among those born of women there is none risen anyone greater than John the Baptist. Yet whoever is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. From the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven has been subjected to violence, and violent people have been raiding it. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John, and if you are willing to accept it, he is the Elijah who was to come. Whoever has ears, let them hear. To what can I compare this generation? They are like children sitting in the marketplace calling out to others. We played the pipe for you, and you did not dance. We sang the dirge, and you did not mourn. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they said, 'He has a demon.' The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they said, 'He is a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners,' but wisdom is proved right by her deeds. Woe to the unrepentant towns." Then Jesus began to denounce the towns in which most of his miracles had been performed because they did not repent. "Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I tell you, it will be more bearable for Tyre and Sidon on the day of judgment than for you. And you, Capernaum, will you be lifted to the heavens? No, you will go down to Hades. For if the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Sodom, it would have remained to this day. But I tell you, it will be more bearable for Sodom on the day of judgment than for you. The Father revealed in the Son. At that time Jesus said, "I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and learned and revealed them to children. Yes, Father, for this is what you are pleased to do. All things have been committed to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and those whom the Son chooses to reveal to him. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Now, this is the one that gave a slant on this chapter that I hadn't been present to till the first time I read the John Maxwell Leadership Study Bible. The law of the inner circle. John feels the vacuum of isolation. This kind of looks at Matthew 11, 2 through 3. When John loses his inner circle of disciples, his empty emotional tank prompts him to question Jesus' identity and credentials. Leaders need a close team of associates to allow the leader to vent and who lend support through their speaking words of truth. Do you have an inner circle? You know, sometimes that's our spouse. Sometimes that's a close friend. It could be a colleague or confidant, but having that person that you can vent to a little when times are difficult. We've certainly had some tough times the last couple of years, but that might make all the difference for you being able to keep your head as a leader. So with that, we're going to be back with a big chapter 12 tomorrow, and that's going to cover the next 2 days. And we're so glad you could be here, and I'll see you here tomorrow.